This is the Sultanate of Oman television live from this news center. We present to you 8:30 news bulletin. The Minister of Health announces the death of two COVID-19 patients and 284 new cases of the virus. His Majesty the Sultan receives a telephone call from His Excellency the U.S. Secretary of State. His Majesty the Sultan sends a message to His Highness the Emir of State of Kuwait. And Oman oil price nears to $35 per barrel, and the international oil prices increase by 2%. Good evening once again, and thank you for joining us. Those were the headlines, and now the news in detail. His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq received a telephone call from His Excellency Mike Pompeo, Secretary of State of the United States of America. During the call, the two sides discussed the strong bilateral relations binding the two countries in various fields. They as well highlighted the latest developments in the region. His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq received a cabal of greetings from Her Excellency President Katerina Saketeropoulou of Greece in reply to a cabal of greetings sent by His Majesty the Sultan on the occasion of her being elected as the new president of the country. His Highness Sheikh Sabah Al Ahmed Al Jaber Al Sabah, Emir of the State of Kuwait, received a message from His Majesty Sultan Haytham bin Tariq. The message was conveyed by His Excellency Yusuf bin Alawi bin Abdullah, Minister responsible for Foreign Affairs, when he was received at Asif Palace by His Highness Sheikh Sabah Al Khalid Al Sabah, Prime Minister of Kuwait. During the meeting, the two sides reviewed the good bilateral relations binding the two friendly countries and discussed issues of mutual concern. The Minister of Health announced the death of two COVID-19 patients, out of which one case is of a female Omani citizen and the other case of an expatriate, which brings the death toll to 20 in the Sultanate. The ministry earlier announced 284 new confirmed cases of COVID-19, 80 cases for Omanis and 204 for residents, which brings the total number registered in the Sultanate to 4,625 cases. The ministry also stated that 1,350 cases have been recovered. Within the efforts to limit the spread of COVID-19, the ministry advises all citizens and residents to keep on washing hands with water and soap. Avoid touching the face, nose, mouth and eyes. Follow hygienic habits when coughing and sneezing. Adhere strictly to social distancing instructions. Stay at home and not to go out unless absolutely necessary. Adhering to isolation and social distancing will prevent you, your family and the community from COVID-19. Stay safe. Slovenia has become the first European country to proclaim an end to the coronavirus epidemic at home. The first coronavirus case in Slovenia was recorded on March 4th, a returnee from neighboring Italy. The nationwide epidemic was proclaimed on March 12th. By May 13th, there were 1,467 confirmed cases and 103 deaths in Slovenia. The coronavirus has killed at least 302,489 people worldwide since it surfaced in China late last year. There have been more than 4.45 million officially recorded cases in 196 countries and territories. The United States has recorded the most deaths at 85,906. It's also followed by Britain with 33,614, Italy with 31,368, Spain with 27,459, and France at 27,425. Russia registers more than 10,000 new infections as Moscow unveils mass antibody testing and a national lockdown eases. More than 400 people have tested positive at Kazakhstan's top producing Tegiz oil field in the Atyaru region. Meanwhile, a 9-year-old boy has died in France from a Kawasaki-like disease believed to be linked to coronavirus. The first such death in the country, as similar child fatalities are investigated in New York and London.
Non-compliance with the directives of the Supreme Committee dealing with coronavirus COVID-19 exposes you to risk and legal action. Stay safe.
In an effort to gradually return to open Schengen borders, Germany and Austria today started to conduct only spot checks at their joint Freilassing frontier ahead of a full reopening on June 15th. 2 days ago, Austria announced its border with Germany would completely reopen in a month in one of the first big steps to reopen land borders across the European Union that have been shut to fight the coronavirus. Local officials and residents on the German side said waiting another month was too long. Free movement across Europe is one of the hallmarks of the European Union, vital for cultural ties and for reviving the tourism industry. Austria and Germany both introduced lockdowns early in their outbreaks and have fared comparatively well, with lower death tolls per capita than many European peers. Europe's economic powerhouse Germany tipped into a recession in the first quarter, with its economy shrinking by 2.2% due to the pandemic. Britain and the European Union urged each other today to give ground in talks over a post-Brexit trade deal or risk failure in techie exchange after the latest bout of bargaining ended with scant progress. The United Kingdom left the European Union on January 31st, but the main terms of its membership remain in place for a transition period until the end of this year, giving it time to negotiate a new free trade deal with the bloc. Failure to reach a deal would convulse global trade just as the world aims to exit the coronavirus lockdowns. But so far, the talks have not gone well. The main sticking point has been so-called level playing field rules to harmonize regulations, which the European Union says are needed to ensure Britain does not undercut its standards, but which Britain rejects as binding it to European laws. Typhoon Feng's ferocious wind and rain left at least one dead and damaged hundreds of coronavirus isolation facilities and homes in the Philippines, along with rice and corn fields in 5 hard-hit eastern towns alone. The typhoon slammed ashore and some residents were weeping in desperation after their houses were destroyed or blown away in the towns he inspected. In the outlying region of Bicol, northwest of Eastern Samar, more than 145,000 people were riding out the weakening typhoon in emergency shelters today after a mass evacuation that was complicated and slowed by the coronavirus. Feng weakened into a severe tropical storm after hitting land yesterday and was blowing northwest toward the Papulo's main northern island of Luzon. Oil prices rose about 2% to put the market on course for a third week of gains on demand optimism as people slowly emerge from lockdowns, while producers push ahead with massive output cuts. The Organization of the Petroleum Exporting Countries and its allies, a group known as OPEC Plus, agreed to cut output by 9.7 million barrels per day for May and June, aiming to tackle a global supply glut on the back of the COVID-19 crisis. But the international oil prices still show a trend of fluctuating downward instead of a sharp recovery. To stabilize oil markets, Saudi Arabia said on Monday that it plans to slash its oil production in June by an additional 1 million barrels per day. Kuwait and the United Arab Emirates also intended to reduce daily output by 80,000 and 10,000 respectively. Oman oil price July delivery reached today $34.95 per barrel, increasing $1.03 compared to yesterday's price. The average price of Oman oil June delivery reached $23.65 for the barrel, decreasing by $11.19 compared to the price of May delivery. You're watching the Sultanate of Oman television, and now to end this news bulletin, here are the main points once again. The Ministry of Health announces the death of 2 COVID-19 patients and 284 new confirmed cases of the virus. His Majesty the Sultan receives a telephone call from His Excellency the U.S. Secretary of State. His Majesty the Sultan sends a message to His Highness the Emir of State of Kuwait. Oman oil price nears to $35 per barrel, and the international oil prices increase by 2%. And with that, we do conclude this news bulletin brought to you live from this news center of the Sultanate of Oman television. Thank you for joining us. Stay home, be safe, and we all say good night to you.
The Ministry of Health urges citizens and residents who are subject to quarantine and isolation not to leave their homes for their own safety and to safeguard their families and the community from the contagious coronavirus COVID-19. The Ministry of Health also calls on citizens and residents to stay home